Good morning, students. So here are general feedbacks of the oral presentation. General feedbacks, this means that most of you did the same mistakes. Now, if you have questions about specific elements, comments that I wrote, then you can mail me and we'll see if I can answer them or not. Okay. Now, most of you had issues with the objective. What is the objective of the oral presentation? What is the message that you want to share in the next 5 minutes? Okay. The objective is the core of the oral presentation. Everything you say once you've established the objective will be about defending it, defending the objective. In a way, the objective is just like a thesis statement in a written production. Okay, so everything has to support what you're suggesting in the thesis statement, the same way as everything has to support what you're suggesting in the objective of the oral presentation. Now, for most of you, the objective was too weak; it was incomplete or unclear. Okay, so when comparing two sources, you must use both elements in your objective. Okay, because the question was how Bernard's sudden change in chapter 11 compared to the toilet paper crisis. So in a way, you have to find similar elements or different elements. It doesn't really matter, but how do they compare? How do they differ? Okay. Now, some of you wrote this. In a way, we could say that the novel and the toilet paper crisis are similar or different. Well, thank you, Captain Obvious, but this is very obvious because that's what the task is about. So if you write this, it's not enough. Now, some of you said, in a way, in both cases, conformity is present. Well, duh, because again, the objective was to compare both sources, but also to use two external articles or sources, uh, and both of them were based on conformity. So it's just pretty normal that conformity isn't there. So if you have this, this is a little bit more specific, but it's just not enough. One could argue that conformity is a plague based on both sources. Ta-da! Huh? That's interesting. That's interesting. Very interesting. So in this case here, everything that you're going to say after that is about how conformity is a plague in Brave New World, how in chapter 11, and how conformity is a plague through the toilet paper crisis. It's just an example. Okay. Let me show you an example here of Miss Mathilde Tremblay. Okay. Sorry, there's a problem. So if she were only to say this, then there would be part of it, but look what she does after. Bingo. So both of the situation in both cases, in both the novel and toilet paper, um, the way they compare is through informational conformity. So what is she doing there? She's using specific example. It's very precise, and also she's using specific terms of the oral presentation. No, that's perfect. So keep in mind this when you look at the when you're preparing your oral presentation about the objective. Uh, for next oral presentation, ask yourself what is the objective of the oral. Every time you add something, every time you think about something, does it defend what the objective is? Okay, and everything you include must defend it. Now, structure. Too many of you did something similar, the same thing. You had the hook, the novel, toilet paper, source one, source two, ending. Well, da 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 dum, da 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 dum. If I only had a heart, guys. If you follow that structure over there, it's the same as if you follow Brave New World. It lacks humanity a little bit. Okay, it lacks. It's just too compartmentalized. No, it's just the way it is. Okay, you have to make sure that when you prepare your oral presentation, I don't want you to summarize the novel. I don't want you after that to summarize toilet paper, then summarize source one. No, that's not what it's this about. This is a dialogue. This is dialogue using all the elements and answering or defending the objective. So it's a dialogue between you and the sources, and you're presenting it orally. Okay, an oral presentation is just like preparing a recipe. You blend different ingredients. The ingredients are here: the novel, toilet paper, one. You put all of them together to come up with something new. Okay, so in a way, when you prepare your oral presentation, booyah, you blend them, and then everything that you say, which what has now become something new, you're answering the question using the elements. Keep in mind what your objective is. Okay, so too many of you did the same thing. Sorry, yeah, there's a problem there. So it's not robotic also. This is a Tomo Molly got you, Mr. Roboto. Tomo. This is what's the song? Sting, I think. I don't. Mr. Roboto. I don't know. Make sure that the transitions between the ideas are not too robotic here. Look, okay, and you don't have to summarize, guys. You don't have to summarize. Look what I have here. Look at the article that I asked you to do. Okay, so this is Psychology Today. By the way, psychology, not psychology. Okay, psychology. I understand that social economy is important. Blah 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 blah. And then here, the word introduces the Asch confirmity. In a famous experiment paradigm created by some people are asked to judge an amount series online. The task is straightforward, but many people have given the same. So she does not summarize the whole thing, like taking 2 minutes or 3 minutes. The same as some of you took 1 or 2 or well, maybe 2 minutes to summarize the whole toilet paper crisis. That's not the point here. I'm not asking you to summarize. That was not the question. Okay, that's not how what I asked you to do. So you don't have to summarize. You incorporate the elements, and you create a dialogue with them, defending again your thesis. Oh no, where's that? I've lost it. It doesn't matter. So I'll give you an example here. Interesting hook, no? Interesting hook. Very good. Look at the transition. Okay, so introduces the hook, and then after that the objective, and then the transition. So she uses Mika uses the source, then comes back to her central thesis or objective. So Annie, here I'm not going to talk about, but Annie, you'll see. Bingo! Transition between the novel. Is she going to summarize it? No, she's telling us how different, because this is the objective. It's part of what she wants to do. How is Bernard different? Now, Bernard in chapter 1 and chapter 2, no, that's not the point. Okay, I don't want you to summarize the whole thing. So she goes on, she does the same thing. So very good transition between the different ideas. So I want you to keep this in mind. The last thing that I want to talk about is this here. The sources. Use specific elements of the sources. If you use elements that are too general about the novel, it doesn't show me that you've understood the novel. Okay, did not summarize them, please. Look at how the words incorporate Ash experiment. I talked about this, okay? So look at this here. Instead of her summarizing the whole thing, she just has one, she takes what she thinks is important in order to support her, what the objective of her paper is, or the article is. Many of you could have used specific terms to explain, sorry, there's a repetition of there. Specific terms to explain what you wanted to say instead of summarizing the whole thing. Now I was supposed to have, is it here? Ah, it's here. Okay, look at what Luca is doing here. Great transition. Perfect. Specific term that was right in the that was in Ash's conformity clip. Very good. Explaining, not summarizing what Ashes says, the whole experiment, but just explaining the term, and then blah blah blah, and then he goes on and talk about it in a connected with the objective. Okay, so keep in mind, guys. Good luck. If you have questions, let me know, and keep these elements in mind while preparing your oral presentation. All right, bye bye, guys. Good luck.